I'm sure that some of you have noticed that the most recent clips that I put up on the podcast happen to be audio that I ripped from Reels or TikTok videos that I've been putting up. And the videos have been doing quite well. It's a medium I've been trying to explore for the last maybe month or two because over here on the podcast, I get to do long form content where I'm talking for 15, 20, sometimes 30 minutes, or maybe even more. That's if you listen during the first year of the podcast. And then on the blog, I write long pieces, 500 words, 1,000 words. So all the stuff that I've been doing is long form. But I think the direction in which social media is heading is much more short form content, like the reels that I've been putting up. Reels, what else? A short TikTok videos, um, YouTube shorts. Uh, yeah, so that's what seems to be popping right now in the social media landscape. Short form, not just text, but video and then audio as well. So, yeah, so anyway, I've been posting some of that content over here. And it's not like I'm going to rehash some of the topics that we've gone over in the reels, but I've been getting some good responses to the videos that I put up. And one of the responses that has been about how things are really difficult in Nigeria, trying to grow a business in Nigeria, the difficult landscape. And of course, the answer that I give to folks is pretty much the same that I've been preaching over here on the podcast for a very long while, which is at the end of the day, we can't do anything about macroeconomic conditions. So Buhari is going to do what Buhari is going to do. Trump is going to do what Trump is going to do. Um, what else? Um, Putin is going to invade whichever country he's going to invade. So the cost of oil, energy prices are going to do their thing. Commodity prices are going to do their thing. And really, there's not much that the average business person can do that you or I can do. So the best that we can is to learn how to sell. Because if you get better at selling, marketing, persuasion, then you have an inbuilt buffer and you're better able to withstand the currents as they come and go. And I know that I've been saying it a lot and it probably sounds insincere, but something happened to me quite recently that kind of proved my point. Although I'm not going to make a recording, sorry, not make a recording, I'm not going to make a reel about it, but I will talk about it over here on the podcast. So I know folks in the alternative energy space, people who sell solar panels, batteries, stuff like that, who have been complaining bitterly about the changes to oil prices and how bad things have been in the Buhari economy. So the typical thing that I hear from people in that field is that, okay, well, this is one example that one of my guys gave me, who actually uh, does installation for batteries and things like that. So he said that things have gotten really expensive because in the past, loading costs used to be 250,000 naira for a set of batteries that they will bring to the store. But with the change, but with the change in energy prices and how tough things have been, loading costs have gone up to 850,000 naira. So for those of you who didn't get it, let me repeat. Loading costs used to be 250,000 naira. With the things that have happened recently, loading costs are now 850,000 naira. And that is just one aspect of the costs that goes into sourcing the batteries, and that doesn't even that doesn't include sourcing the panels or producing the panels or installation costs and things like that. So yes, obviously their costs have increased because from 250 to um, 250 to 850, I think that's definitely more than threefold. Definitely more than threefold, I think, if my math is correct. If my math is wrong, then please don't judge me. I guess you'll now know the reason why I ended up studying law and not advanced theoretical mathematics. So, where was I? Yeah, so costs have definitely gone up in that space. And the rationale that most of my guys in that space have been giving me is that with the rise in these costs, they don't want to transfer the cost to the end user because if you do that, people are going to run away. And in a way, I'm sympathetic to their plight because I remember when I got um, my own first set of inverter batteries. The whole setup. It's a 2.5 kilowatt with two 80-watt batteries, I think, if I remember correctly. Okay, maybe 3.5 kilowatts with two 80-watt batteries. And the whole setup cost 150,000 naira at the time. But now, currently, if you want to replace a single battery, that's about 180,000 naira. So I know that costs have gone up significantly. And that's one of the reasons why folks aren't willing to try out these sorts of things. Solar panels, inverters, and all these backup energy solutions. So yeah, I know, and I'm kind of sympathetic. But then again, there's another chap that I've been in touch with who actually was a client on the photography end, and we haven't started talking business, sales wise and um, business wise. So, but I'm going to meet him anyway, and to talk later on, find out about their sales setup, and maybe there might be room for some business there. I mean, not photography related business. So I've been speaking to him, and he has a different take. I was like, "Hey, what's up? How you doing? How's the fam? How's business been?" And his reply is, "Business is fantastic because of the changes in the cost of this and this and that and that and that. We've been able to raise our prices, and business is doing well." Now, in case you didn't hear me correctly, I'm going to repeat it again. When I first bought my my whole setup, it was 150,000 for everything: installation, the inverter itself, and the batteries. Right now, batteries alone cost about 170, 180 a pop. That's just one. I don't know the cost of the inverter itself, and um, then what else? So loading costs have increased for them. It's no longer 250 grand. It's now 850 grand per haul, and a lot of them don't want to increase their prices because they think people are not going to buy if you pass along the costs. But then you have someone else in the same town, in this same Abuja, Federal Capital Territory, who is dealing with the same conditions that everybody else is dealing with: Putin, war, Buhari economy, energy prices. What else? I think they're also having logistical issues, supply chain issues. I mean, basically, they're dealing with the same thing, and they are in the same city. But most of them are crying foul, like we can't raise our prices because people will run away. And someone else is saying business is fantastic. We've been able to raise our margins. This is a perfect example about what I've been preaching about over here on the podcast, about how the differentiator at the end of the day boils down to how well are we able to sell and how well are we able to promote. So maybe the other guys have not been able to um, look for customers that are not so price sensitive. Whatever it is, you really can't say that it's the environment that is making one person succeed apart from another, because some people have said this is what's happening, this is the reason why I have to keep my prices the same or reduce my prices. This is saying business has been fantastic because of all this thing that has been going on. I've been able to raise my prices, I've been able to increase my margins. I'm not going to go into any details, well, partly because I don't know the details anyway, and also because it's not my own story to tell. If this guy ever does some public speaking, um, it would be nice to hear him go into details, about how they've been able to grow the that particular business in these times when lots of their peers in the industry find it to be really troubling. That's for those people in the alternative energy space in Nigeria, Abuja and Lagos. Anyway, let me limit it to that. I can't speak of things on a global scale or in other parts of the country. So Abuja and Lagos, definitely this industry, alternative energy space, solar, inverters, all that, batteries, backup systems. It's been tough for them. But here you have someone who's thriving and doing pretty well. So let's learn how to sell. Let's learn how to promote ourselves. Let's learn how to market ourselves, because that's what's going to make the difference at the end of the day. We can't do anything about Buhari. Buhari is going to do whatever he is going to do. Of course, we can do our best to make sure that we vote someone else if we're not happy with the way Buhari is performing and with the way the APC has handled the country's affairs. And the logic is also the same. You can't do anything about what Biden is going to do. Biden is already the president. But if you're unhappy with the Democrats, then of course you guys have to hustle and vote in the Republicans. But there's nothing you can do about Putin, about Buhari, about Biden. They're already in, and whatever it is they're going to do, they're going to do. There's nothing you can do about macroeconomic forces, because unless you are involved in setting the policy landscape of the country, like maybe you're the Minister of Finance or um, some Minister of State for something, there's very little that you can do to determine which way the tides go. So all you can do at the end of the day, for those of us who are self-employed and who have businesses, those of us who have market that we're trying to move, is we can, how well we can promote, how well we can hustle. That's the distinguishing factor. That's the difference between your loading costs going up 3 or 4 times, but some people are saying, I'm not going to raise my prices because we'll lose customers. And then some other person is saying, hey, it's been good for business. We've been able to increase our prices and um, we've been able to increase our prices and our profit margins. So that's it for today, pretty much. And I'll wrap it up there. And in the future, if you come across any footage that happens to be or less, then yes, that is from my TikTok recordings or my real recordings. I'll keep throwing some of them over here on the podcast just so that there's a mix. For those of you who like short term content, you'll be able to get those quick 1 minute updates. And for those of you who like the more traditional stuff we've been doing, like today's episode where we've gone 10 minutes already, you guys have these over here available as well. So thank you for listening to today's episode. I'll catch you guys at the next recording. I'm currently recording this on Saturday, the 3rd of September. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. And yes, looking forward to all of us increasing and growing our businesses and learning how to sell, to promote, to market, to network a lot better so that we can increase our margins and live that good life that we deserve. So thank you guys for listening. I'll catch you at the next episode.